Joining me on the program now, Dr. Bonnie Robinson, who heads up the Social Policy and Parliamentary unit. Bonnie, kia ora, thanks for your time.
Kia ora, thanks for having me.
Certainly, it seems self-evident that something needs to be done from a regulatory point of view and perhaps in other areas as well to reduce alcohol harm in our communities. You guys are seeing the result of that all too often.
Yes, well, we have long, ever since the Salvation Army started, it's been concerned about alcohol harm. And we are involved in addictions work and helping people to overcome their addictions. But we see that harm in all our services, really. The results of alcohol harm can be seen in all our centres, not just in addictions.
Now, there's legislation before the House at the moment looking at reforming alcohol sale legislation. Initially, at least, this looked to be, certainly a move in the right direction, but some changes to that legislation. If you could unpack that for us, Bonnie, what was the legislation going to be and what are the changes?
Well, the legislation exists already. It's the Sale and Supply of Alcohol Act, and so that exists. And what was happening was that the minister was looking at some reforms to that act. And within those reforms, there was some positive moves in terms of limiting or making a bit of a dent in alcohol harm, and that was to reduce the hours which off licenses and supermarkets could sell alcohol. So At the moment, it's kind of 7 till 11. She was going to, the minister was looking at putting that to 9 in the morning to 9 at night.
Okay.
Now, in some areas of New Zealand, councils have already brought in local alcohol policies which restrict the hours, but there's not many of them. So this would have changed that for the whole country. So there still would have been 12 hours a day for people to buy alcohol, but it would have reduced that early morning and that late night selling. And we know from the research that it's those hours where we do get a lot of alcohol harm happening as the result of people being able to buy alcohol in those sort of extreme ends of the morning and the evening.
If you're buying alcohol at 7 in the morning, then that's evidence that that perhaps there's other issues to be dealt with. Now, this in itself looked good. It makes sense to a lot of people. However, some changes to this legislation. It looks like, not legislation, the changes to the reform of the legislation. This restriction of sales hours maybe not going through. What's the situation?
Yeah, so we don't know exactly what's happening, but there was a leaked cabinet paper, and this was the first time that we or anybody in the sort of alcohol harm sector had heard that. And it looks like at the moment the reforms the minister's considering aren't going to include restricting the hours and are really going to be focused on cutting red tape for the alcohol industry.
Okay.
So rather than reducing harm, the reforms look like they're going to make it easier for the alcohol industry. So that's very concerning because, this was a great opportunity to do a little bit towards reducing the harm that we have from alcohol. And, just to let people know, it's $9.1 billion a year. That's a year that we spend dealing with the harm that alcohol causes in our community.
I thought that was how much we spent on alcohol, but no, that's just the cost of the harm done by alcohol every year.
That's the cost of the harm. So if you look at health costs, the cost of dealing with family harm, family violence, crime, addictions, all the things that we have to put in place because of the harm that alcohol causes, that's 9.1 billion.
Wow.
People are always very concerned about drugs, which they should be, but drug harm only costs us 2.1 billion, which is bad enough.
Yeah.
But alcohol is still the thing that drives more harm than anything.
And hey, maybe it's because you can buy it from the shop on the corner at the moment at 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Maybe that is part of it. Now, the Social Policy and Parliamentary Unit, of course, part of the reason that you exist is to do research and to influence public policy in this area. It would be fair to say, Bonnie, that there are other organisations also seeking to influence policy, including a well-funded alcohol lobby.
Yes, and look, it is a democracy, so anyone is welcome to talk to government and to put their point of view, and they certainly do. We've no idea why we've seen a change from the first draft of the reforms to the leaked cabinet paper.
Yeah.
But it is true that the alcohol industry definitely takes the opportunity to make their views known. And of course, the alcohol industry is extremely well resourced in terms of its ability to participate in the democracy and to lobby government.
Now, hey, we don't want to create a conspiracy theory, although the changes that have come through are all in favour of the alcohol industry. So it's perhaps not too far about a stretch to say that there may have been some involvement or some lobbying in this regard. Net result, though, if more alcohol is sold, that's good news for the alcohol industry. They have more money. They have more money to lobby. From the Salvation Army's point of view, more needs to be spent, more resources need to go towards helping those impacted by alcohol harm in the community.
Yes, definitely more resources, but I think we need to keep it in perspective too, that these are behind the statistics and the dollar numbers are real people who are hurting and who are suffering. So, it's children, it's whānau, it's communities who, and it's individuals who suffer from addiction. So there's real people that sit behind this. So when we don't take the opportunity to make a little bit of a dent in the harm that alcohol causes, we're basically leaving people to suffer, from the ill effects of alcohol. So I think it's really important to keep those people in mind, because it's the people we see every day, and it's families who are in crisis, it's individuals who are in crisis and who are needing assistance because alcohol has harmed them. And there's years of research as to what can help reduce harm from alcohol, and reducing the hours of sale is one of those ones where it's very clear you reduce the hours of sale, the harm goes down.
Yeah, and hey, we'll get the researchers in, and that is tracked. But so important to recognise. Yes, there may be some money involved with this, but we're talking about real people who are harmed by this. Bonnie, you mentioned beforehand that in some parts of the country there are local liquor licensing boards, that there is some restrictions that happens here. For people who are concerned about this, I mean, we may not have the resources of the alcohol lobby, but we can make our voice heard.
Absolutely. I think if people are concerned, they'd like to see the hours that alcohol can be sold reduced. You can write to Minister McKee and say, please take this opportunity to make these reforms. You can talk to your local council and say, we would like, if you don't have a local alcohol policy that restricts hours, we would like to have one. You could go and see your local MP and say, could you support reducing harm through the reforms to the Act. So there's many ways that you could get involved if you're concerned about alcohol harm in your community.
In terms of where things are at, is there any opportunity for another change, or is this the final form of the reforms, as it were? Do you have any hope that this is still up for debate and negotiation?
I don't think it's set in stone yet, so that's why we're certainly highlighting the issue, and we are obviously writing to the minister ourselves and other ministers. I think there would be room for a shift back to a focus on reducing alcohol harm. We'd certainly hope so, and even if not at this point in time, I think if enough people say, hey, we're really concerned about the harm in our community, and we know that reducing the hours of sale could help if enough people start saying that, then I think government does have the opportunity to look at the Act again. So they are the government; they've got the power to look at legislation and suggest change at any point.
Yeah.
So it's really, I think, emphasising that we want the harm reduced, and we're not talking here about banning alcohol. We're just talking about reducing the hours, particularly in the hours of the day that we know that often that's when harmful drinking occurs and the harm takes place.
And hey, if you want to buy a few beers for the weekend, you just need to get a bit more organised in that regard. And look, I know for some people, if you're shopping after work and you go, oh gosh, the clock's changed, and it is inconvenient for some supermarkets to go, okay, we've got to wall off this section, but balancing the inconvenience with the actual harm that it does in our community, certainly something worth our attention. Bonnie, I really appreciate the work that you do drawing attention to these issues. Thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks very much.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.